Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 5th July, the news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 15. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, we waited 70 years, Bibi tells Modi. So this is regarding Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He has this nickname Bibi. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a visit to Israel and has reached Israel. So we've been discussing this for the last few days. So that's what he says, we waited 70 years. Since 1947, that was the time when India had voted against partition of Palestine. So at that time, Israel was been establishing itself as a nation here around Jerusalem, and India had voted that Palestine should not be divided and a separate nation should not be formed. But then even we did not recognize Israel. It was only in 1950 that Israel was recognized as a nation by India. After that, full diplomatic relations we've been doing for long now. 1992 was when full diplomatic relations were established by Narasimha Rao government, and it is 25 years of full diplomatic relations in 2017 now. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the first Prime Minister to visit since then. And the thing is that in this present visit, we have been discussing that there will be strategic partnership agreements. Of course, when the agreements are signed, this will come in news and the details will also be out. There will be strategic partnership agreements on non-security issues. Specifically, it is agriculture, water, tourism, science and technology, and space. So this is the detail given. Also, another acronym which has been formed by Prime Minister of Israel Benjamin Netanyahu, knowing about the acronym formation which Prime Minister Narendra Modi does. He is an expert in that. So he has said that India-Israel relationship can be described as I square T square. So I square T square means Indian talent and Israeli technology. So that is how this relationship has to taken forward and strengthened. Then next is liquor ban. Denotifying highways within cities does not violate order, says Supreme Court. So first of all, you should know about Supreme Court order. It was in December 2016 that Supreme Court ordered that there will be no sale of liquor within a distance of 500 meters from the outer edge of national and state highways. So why was this order passed? So to prevent drinking and driving. So drunken driving on high-speed roadways results in road accidents, which are a huge casualty in the country. So that is why this order was passed, that there will be prohibition on sale of liquor. So this order in March 2017, there was a clarification on this order also given by the Supreme Court, in which it had said that ban was not restricted just to liquor shops alongside the highways, but also to larger establishments including pubs and hotels. So this had created a huge trouble because there are many pubs, hotels located, and these are huge establishments which could not be shifted. So there were concerns raised, and now after that, the way the states have found a way out to come out of this, to circumvent this order, was that they have denotified various state highways as local roads. So this is a petition which has been filed in the Supreme Court on this, that this is how the states are trying to circumvent the order. But the Supreme Court's observation is that there's nothing wrong in denotifying particular stretches of highways which are running inside the city limits as city roads. So this declassification does not violate its order. This is what the Supreme Court is saying here. It says that the purpose of the order was that on high-speed roadways as such, there are chances of drunken driving and accidents. But city, the situation is different. There is a huge amount of traffic, and in that traffic, the purpose of this order is not to regulate that. So this is how it has clarified and brought relief to various hotels, pubs also, and states. Many states have denotified state highways. So this is the order. Of course, the petitioners are not happy with the order, but this is the Supreme Court's observation. Then this you can see is the bars, hotels that lost licenses after the Supreme Court ban in various states also. Then the next news item is allow deposit of old notes. Supreme Court tells Center. So this is post demonetization that we know that the government did not allow people to deposit old currency notes after that. So it was grace period also given till 31st March 2017, and that was a grace period only to Indian citizens who were abroad during the period. Means from 9 November when the demonetization was announced till 30th December 2016. Earlier government had stated that post December 30 the grace period would be there, but then after that December 30 it announced that grace period would only be there for citizens who were abroad, Indian citizens who were abroad in this period. So now there have been many petitions before the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court is also saying that if there is a person who is terminally ill and he could not deposit his money, then there is no opportunity for him to deposit now. So these are genuine people who have been deprived of their hard-earned money. So that is why the Supreme Court has asked the government that it should not close all options for such people. There should be a window open to them. They can approach the authorities and prove that it is their money. So on this, the Solicitor General actually has stated that the government has already filed an affidavit to the Supreme Court explaining why the period to deposit demonetized notes was restricted. Because if that would not be there, then people would take advantage of it. So there was a restricted time available. But then since the government had promised that it would give grace period, and then it restricted the grace period to only citizens who were abroad. So that is the whole deal here, and Supreme Court is ordering the center to make available some options. We'll see what further development takes place in this, but the government seems adamant to not having any other window open now. Then next is center plans partial removal of AFSPA in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh. So this is regarding AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Powers Act. So this act is very controversial because it gives unlimited powers to the armed forces who are deployed in the disturbed areas where this act is in force. So the armed forces here have a right to kill. They can shoot on suspicion. They can arrest anybody on suspicion without warrant. So there are unlimited powers which have been given to the armed forces here under AFSPA. And presently AFSPA is in force in Nagaland, Assam, Manipur, parts of Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya and Jammu and Kashmir. So this AFSPA, which is in force since 1958 when it was enacted to counter Naga insurgency, and since then it has been extended to various states. Presently the news is that government is planning to partially remove AFSPA in Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. So only in these two states the present proposal has been put forth, and already AFSPA has been withdrawn from another northeastern state, Tripura, in 2015. So this is regarding AFSPA now. It has been very controversial. You should know it was Irom Sharmila, the prominent activist from Manipur, who was on a fast unto death. It was actually a hunger strike which she was on since 2000, and she had not eaten till 2016 when she finally gave up a hunger strike. And how did she stay alive? She was force fed through a tube, so that the authorities wanted to keep her alive. Of course, nobody wants a martyr and escalate the situation, but the demand for AFSPA's repeal from Manipur was not accepted. Later in 2016, when finally she gave up a hunger strike, she joined mainstream politics and fought the elections in Manipur but could not win. She got very less number of votes. So this is regarding Irom Sharmila too. And you can see here there are many alleged violations which have taken place under AFSPA. A violation of rights of the civilians who stay here. There have been cases of rapes by armed forces too. So that is there. But then the government has always been adamant that AFSPA is required to counter insurgency operations in these regions. So here the details you can see are given. A suspicious person can be arrested without warrant. They can destroy any structure, suspected house where they feel that arms are downed as such too. They can conduct searches without warrant. Means they can enter any place without a warrant. So that is unlimited power, unbridled power given to the armed forces. So that is there. They can fire upon or use force against any person acting in contravention of any law for the time being in force in the disturbed area, to the extent of killing that person. Okay. So this is there. Why AFSPA is controversial, you can see specific sections which are controversial have been picked up and mentioned here. Again, same. Search premises, make arrests without warrant. Right? Then it says that arrested person and seized property are to be made over to the police with little delay. So they have to be handed over to the police authorities, law and order authorities, but there is no specific time limit under this time frame within which this to be done. Only vague terminology with little delay this should be done. Then section 7 states that officers who are acting in good faith in their official capacity, they are provided immunity. Prosecution can take place only if the central government provides sanction. So this is there, means there is an immunity, but it's not a blanket immunity. Prosecution of armed personnel under AFSPA can take place. Under the AFSPA Act itself, it is mentioned that if central government provides sanction, and the central government has not provided sanction for any such, prosecution is another matter. But then you can see that the Supreme Court in its ruling in 2016 has clearly highlighted that AFSPA does not provide blanket immunity. It has stated that a civilian or a terrorist cannot be killed on suspicion without any reason. There should be right reasons that why the person was killed. It does not give the armed forces right to kill. Right? So it has stated that if excessive force is used by the armed forces which leads to death, then there should be an inquiry done by an independent body, and if it is clarified, if it is justified, then fine. Otherwise there would be prosecution of armed forces who are using AFSPA provisions too. So they will face criminal prosecutions in case of unjustified deaths. So this has been clearly stated by the Supreme Court in its latest ruling. So you can't say that AFSPA is giving you immunity so that you can take law in your own hands, and it is all that is done in lawful discharge of official duty means it's immune. So this is the Supreme Court ruling. So this is highly restricted the powers under AFSPA actually. And now the government is also planning to repeal AFSPA from some regions, is also a welcome initiative. So this is there. Then the next news item is make registration of marriages compulsory. So this is actually the Law Commission of India which has given its recommendation that there should be compulsory registration of marriages. So this is to protect gullible women from fake marriages. So they will not be deprived of their societal recognition and legal security once registration of marriages becomes compulsory. And it has also highlighted, it's actually talking about how NRIs come and promise marriage and they have marriages and then they flee. So these cases have been reported, and that is the reason why the Law Commission is also stating that there is a need for compulsory registration of marriages. But then there is another issue too. This provision had come forth in the time of triple talaq case. So because marriages as such are not registered, so then divorce also cannot be through the courts of law. So of course this is the first step. And even Law Commission here has highlighted that this compulsory registration of marriages provision can be provided by the government by a simple amendment to the Registration of Births and Deaths Act of 1969. So that is stated, and also it has clarified that there is no need to amend any of the personal law of any religious community for compulsory registration of marriages. It is also citing 2006 Supreme Court ruling in which it had stated that for marriages of persons who are citizens of India belonging to any religion should be registered compulsorily in their states. So this is an initiative which is proposed to be taken here, a recommendation by the Law Commission. Then the next news item is discuss opening of temple vaults, Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court is advising its amicus curiae. We have already discussed, this is regarding Sri Padmanabha Swami temple in Kerala, Thiruvananthapuram. The deity here, it's a Vishnu temple, the principal deity. Sri Padmanabha Swami is here lying in this Anantha posture, which is lying on a serpent as such, you can see here. So this is Anantha posture. This is the name after which even the city has been named Thiruvananthapuram. That's the old name of it was Trivandrum. That was the anglicized version of Thiruvananthapuram because Britishers could not pronounce Thiruvananthapuram. So it was named Trivandrum by them, and post-British colonial rule ended, we have also changed names of various places, and this city has also been named to its original name, that is Thiruvananthapuram. So this is Sri Padmanabha Swami temple in Kerala. So this is said to be the world's richest temple. We have already discussed that too. And now the amicus curiae here who has been appointed because there is a Supreme Court case which is going on to bring in transparency in the functioning of this temple, in the treasury which has been found here. It's, as I said, it's the world's richest temple. There are huge treasures in this temple, and an inventory is being prepared of the temple valuables and treasures. So this inventory, the amicus curiae, the senior advocate Gopal Subramaniam, he has stated that the complete inventory of the temple valuables and treasures has been prepared except Kallara B. So this is one of the vaults here. So this cholera B has not been opened. So this is remaining. Entire other inventory has been prepared. So the Supreme Court is advising him that he should discuss opening of this vault at the Sri Padmanabha Swami temple. But here the authorities are saying actually that Padmanabha Swami temple is also under the royal house as such of Trivandrum. Of course, the royalty no longer exists. The princely state as such no longer exists, but the royal family still is having its generations going ahead. So here the royal family of Trivandrum actually is saying that this should not be opened. But then the amicus curiae has also stated that former CAG Vinod Rai, who was appointed by the Supreme Court then to audit temple finances, he had given his report and he had stated that the temple records show that Kallara B was opened 9 times in the past. So this has been opened. And the latest one is also in 1930s if you look at history when this was opened. So that was the time when the cities, when the regions were facing crisis, economic crisis. So at that time too this Kallara B was opened, but then further details about what was removed and how it was utilized as such is not there in records. But it has been opened is mentioned as such. So now again Kallara B should be opened is a suggestion which Supreme Court is giving to the amicus curiae that he should discuss it further here. So these are the riches of the temple too. And this is Kallara B, the intimidating, threatening. You can see the door. There is no lock as such. So it is said to be closed by sound waves and can be opened through some mantra. So these are the claims which are being made. So we'll see what further developments, if any, take place in this too. Then the next news item is drug-resistant TB higher among children than expected report. So this is regarding a study which has been done, which is showing that drug-resistant TB cases, this is MDR TB, multi-drug resistant TB cases are high in children. So this was a study done on children who were tested in 9 cities and diagnosed with TB. So these TB cases in this 9% of the children it is stated were having MDR TB, and that was also because they were probably in close contact with their parents and grandparents who had been affected. So this is a study which has been put forth, but in this you should specifically know that multi-drug resistant TB exists and there is children suffering from multi-drug resistant TB too. What is MDR TB? One thing you should know, then this is again revised National Tuberculosis Control Program of the central government. You should know about this program also, and also what we have already discussed, Gene Expert MTB RIF. So this is the testing apparatus which has been recommended by World Health Organization too, and this is used under in the reference labs of RNTCP in each of the project cities. So we'll see the 3 details here. You can see the findings of this study shown here. So 76,000 children tested, 5,500 diagnosed with TB, 9% diagnosed with MDR TB. This is there. The cities where 9 cities are mentioned here, and proportion of children among new TB patients in 2016. There are 6% children of all the TB patients in 2016. And this is regarding the Gene Expert. This Gene Expert is a tool, diagnostic molecular test as such which is done, and this is testing for both TB and also rifampicin drug resistance. So rifampicin drug resistance is when we call it MDR TB, multi-drug resistant TB. So both are detected simultaneously by Gene Expert. So this it has minimal biosafety requirements and training required too. So it can be used in non-conventional laboratories also. So it has its benefits. The results come in less than 2 hours. So this MDR Gene Expert as such is used as a rapid TB test. Then this is the revised National Tuberculosis Control Program. So it actually National TB program was launched in 1962, but it could not succeed. So it was revised, and this revised National Tuberculosis Control Program came in 1992. And this adopted the DOT strategy. DOT strategy is suggested by World Health Organization. This is directly observed treatment short course. So because in TB we see resistance develops, so this resistance develops because people do not take the doses at the right time. They do not take it, continue it. So there is a need for direct observation as such. So this is the directly observed treatment short course which was suggested by World Health Organization and just followed under revised National Tuberculosis Control Program to make sure that TB resistance does not develop. So right doses, right medicines, and the course should be completed. That is very essential. Otherwise, drug resistance develop bad. TB, which is a bacterial infection, the bacteria develop resistance then if you don't take the complete dose, and then they are not responding to those drugs. So then that drug resistance develops, and second line of drugs are required when first line of drugs do not function. So that is the drug resistance which we see. So by 2006, this program has been implemented throughout the country too. Then this is China says Doklam situation grave, rules out compromise. So this is also a news item which we have been seeing for long here. So this Donglang or Doklam region where the standoff has taken place, the Chinese authorities are saying that ball is in the court of India, because the precondition which they have placed is that India should withdraw its troops. Only then peaceful resolution of this dispute can take place. This dispute has entered its 19th day now. It's since past 19 days that the standoff continues. And it is basically a China-Bhutan boundary dispute, but India has its concerns because if China builds roads in this region, it is building road because it will give it better access to the Chumbi Valley region of Tibet of China, but then it will make our chicken's neck vulnerable. So that is the India's concern, because of which we are standing here for Bhutan. So here you can see the region shown too. This is the Chumbi Valley of Tibet. So this, you can see it enters into this triangular region, and this is Bhutan, and this is the region where the road is being constructed. So if the road is constructed here, it will come very close to our chicken's neck, the Siliguri corridor. So that is the concern which India is raising here. So it will change the security balance here in this region. Then the next news item is Vietnam for greater Indian role in Southeast Asia. So this was actually Delhi Dialogue 9, which was held here in Delhi. So this is a platform for discussion between Asian nations and India. So you should know about ASEAN also. It's a regional grouping, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. There are 10 members in this grouping. Vietnam is also one of them. And Vietnam here has stated that India has to play a greater role in ASEAN security and strategic affairs. So what is this specifically talking of? This is talking of the South China Sea region. So here it says that India should support freedom of navigation, which India has also stated many a times. And this is also a dispute which Vietnam has with China. So even other nations, not just Vietnam, Philippines also has with China. It had taken it to the international, court also, this arbitration. Court of arbitration, and in that court the ruling went against China that it does not have authority over the historical domination over these regions, and that was a ruling against it. But of course it does not have any action which can be taken. It was just an international court ruling. So this is also there, and now Vietnam is also asking India that it should play a significant role here in the context that India-China relations are strained presently because of various issues. Even China has been opposing our NSG membership as such too. It has been opposing, even designated Maulana Masood Azhar as an international terrorist at UN committee also. So these are concerns already going on, and presently Doklam issue too, and now this South China Sea issue has also been raised by Vietnam. So this is there. One more important thing is that even India-ASEAN relations complete 25 years now. 25 years of diplomatic relations. This was also established in 1992. So this is one important thing which you should know about. Even senior BJP leader had hinted a day ago that China's growing domination in Southeast Asia was a concern, and Vietnam and India should partner to resist this 21st century version of neo-colonialism. So this is also a statement being made by a senior BJP leader here. So this is India-China standoff further taken ahead. Again, we don't have any of our personal region or territory in this area, but we are for freedom of navigation of the sea, because these nations also have claim, and this is actually a region through which various prominent trade routes pass, plus also it has huge estimated reserves of oil as such too, oil and gas. So here you can see the details shown here. So Vietnam, the nation here, China lies here, and this is Taiwan. So Chinese claim is this 9 dash line, which is a huge region. All this is claimed by China. You can see the entire red line. So this is called the 9-dash line of China, and this is its claim. While Vietnam, because there is this EEZ, Exclusive Economic Zone, under UN clause, United Nations Convention on Law of the Sea. So 200 nautical miles beyond your territory is your exclusive economic zone. So based on that, Vietnam claims this. But of course, if the region is having lesser than 200 nautical miles, and of course it would be the midline for the two neighboring nations sharing the same water body. But then here you can see the claim of China is too vast, and it says this is a historical region, and it's also building islands. So it is reclamation is being done, and islands are being expanded by China in this region. So this is the context. You can see Philippines EEZ claim also shown, Taiwan. All these nations are having their claims here. Even Brunei, Malaysia, right? Not Indonesia. Malaysia has its claim here. You can see the prominent islands also, Paracel Islands, Spratly Islands, and Scarborough Islands. These are prominently there always in news. And this is the EEZ you can see shown. Exclusive Economic Zone. Philippines EEZ. Then this again the details shown in short. So this was the Permanent Court of Arbitration ruling in favor of Philippines, that China does not have any historical claim. It does not have any basis for making this historical claim over these islands. Then these are the ASEAN members, that is Association of Southeast Asian Nations. The 10 members here you can see. Myanmar. Then this is Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia. Right? Then Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Brunei, a small nation here, and Philippines. These are the 10 members of ASEAN. The next is the subsidized LPG rate hiked by ₹32 post GST. So per cylinder LPG rate has been hiked. So this has been hiked in the sense that post GST has been put into effect, the prices increase because it has been put under 5% GST, the subsidized LPG. But then LPG taxation earlier under various states was, some states had zero tax or some states also kept less than 5% tax. So because of this, the prices have risen. So this is the news. It's 14.2 kg cylinder of LPG, which is subsidized, and such subsidized cylinders are 12 cylinders per year per household. So this has to be at a subsidized rate as such, and post that the cylinders which are required will be brought from the market at non-subsidized rates. Also for this we have known that it has PAHAL scheme which has been implemented. So this is direct subsidy transfer done. So whatever price subsidized amount is there, that is transferred to bank accounts. So this is the non-subsidized LPG, the GST rate is 18%. This is that. Then the next news item is display new GST prices on products. So this is a ruling coming from the government. The Consumer Affairs Ministry has highlighted that the prices of products have to be displayed. If there are old products, so new prices under GST have to be displayed using a sticker. And if the prices are increasing, then these have to be notified through an advertisement. There should be an advertisement in a local newspaper if the manufacturers are having the prices raised post GST. But if the prices are reducing, then there is no need for any advertisement, but then still a sticker of the new price should be there on the product. So this has been made mandatory. So this is the ruling. Also it has stated that we have granted relaxation for 3 months. So 3 months time frame till 30th September 2017 has been given to the industry to write new MRP on items. And after that, this MRP has to be there mentioned on the items as such, no stickers. So this is the leeway given. Then it was also saying that there is a feedback and action room which has been established in Ministry of Finance to ensure smooth implementation of GST, and also all state and center subordinate offices have been asked to pass on to the feedback and control room if they are having any news about any problem in the implementation of GST. So steps are being taken to ensure that GST is smoothly implemented. Then next is tap GST for jobs data, PM appointed panel. So this is actually a task force which has been appointed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which is headed by Niti Aayog Vice Chairman Mr. Arvind Panagria. So this task force is going to submit its recommendations soon, and one of the recommendations which has been in news here is that it is suggesting that the data from GST should be used to understand the job conditions in the country, because for employment there are various surveys which are conducted. There is NSSO which conducts this employment and employment survey every 5 years. So actually this task force is recommending that this survey should be scrapped. Also there is an annual survey of enterprises which is conducted. So this is there, plus also another survey which is being done presently, because this latest survey of employment and unemployment survey, last one was done in 2011-12. So every 5 years means next one was due in 2016-17, but it was skipped. It was not conducted, and there was a new periodic labor force survey which was conducted. The first one in April 2017. So this is the present surveys which are being done, and now this task force is recommending that we should use GST related data, because in GST, the GST network will have details of all the enterprises of of all sizes which are dealing in goods and services and who are having a turnover exceeding rupees 20 lakh. So 80 lakh such firms are already registered. So there will be a huge number of firms under this. So that data can be used to understand the employment condition in the country. So this is there. Also it is stating that who should be considered as part of formal employment. So formal employment means that anybody who is having Form 16 as such. So Form 16 is for tax deduction at source. So anybody who gets a Form 16 means income tax deduction at source means he is under formal employment. So this is a suggestion given. Also he says that all those workers who are covered under Employee State Insurance Act, or even other such public sector employees, or even private insurance or pension schemes cover them, then they should be considered as formal workers. So this is formal employment. This is one other suggestion given, how to define formal employment, and another, as I said, about how GST data can be used to understand the employment estimates in the country. So this will be there, GST data, and also for smaller firms. For other firms who are outside the GST net, it has recommended separate annual surveys and an economic census every 3 years. So this will be there, a time survey should be done, and also a 3-year interval, at every 3-year interval, data on the time spent in various occupations and non-market activities should be provided for. So this is it. Then the next news item is Uday covers 97% of DISCOM debt. So this is regarding Uday, Ujjwal DISCOM Assurance Yojana. So this Uday scheme has been launched by the central government, and this takes care of debt of DISCOMs. What are DISCOMs? Power distribution companies. So this is the short for this. So around 97% of total outstanding debt of all state power distribution companies has been covered under Uday scheme, is what the central government has announced presently. So you can see Uday scheme, actually it was put into effect in 2015, and in this, because we are seeing that power distribution companies are making huge losses. So these are under the state government, and there is a need to rectify this scenario. That is why the central government came up with this Uday scheme, under which one important provision was that the state government has to take over 75% of the distribution company's debt. So the DISCOM's debt, 75% of it has to be taken over by the state government. So this, once this is done, then the remaining 25% of the DISCOM's debt would also be cleared. So here you can see, first state take over the debt, then quarterly tariff increase should be enabled, then operational efficiency should be brought in, cost of power should be reduced, budgetary discipline should be brought in, and for future bank lending should also be regulated. So this will bring in reduction in interest cost of DISCOMs also, and bring them back on track. So this you can see mentioned here again, Uday scheme. So the idea is to make the distribution companies profitable in 2 to 3 years as such, and bringing in operational efficiency, reducing cost of power, interest burden reduced, as we just discussed. So this is the purpose. So here the news which is there is that under Uday scheme, 97% of total outstanding debt has been covered. So the states, many states have joined. You can see 26 states and 1 union territory have joined Uday scheme, right? So, and because of them joining the Uday scheme, the total debt as such, outstanding debt of them is rupees 3.82 lakh crore. So 86% of the restructurable debt has been revamped under scheme 2. So this is being stated by the central government now. Also, it said that difference between average cost of supply and average revenue realized has also come down, because cost of supply is more and revenue realized is less. So this difference has also come down now. Then next is officers body opposes central bank CFO plan. So this is regarding chief financial officer. So RBI has suggested there should be a chief financial officer who should be appointed in the rank of an executive director at the RBI, and he should be a person from outside the organization. So this suggestion came in May 2017 from RBI, and it has invited applications for the post of CFO. So the CFO would be responsible for accurate and timely presentation and reporting of financial information of the central bank. So this will be their accounting principle. Policies would be established by the CFO. Procedures, policies, compliance with regulations should be ensured by this chief financial officer. But the officers body of RBI has strongly protested against this, saying that why an outsider is required. So if there is an independent CFO which will be appointed, actually they are saying that this is opening the doors gradually for the government to have say in the internal matters of RBI. Because an independent CFO appointed in RBI means government is going to appoint. So this is being stated, right? The point will go to the government, and why this is required when we have people, eligible people within the organization. Also, Raghuram Rajan, the former RBI governor, had proposed this, but this was strongly resisted, and finally this idea was shelved, cancelled. So this again, the proposal is being put forth, and the officers body is opposing it. Then the next news item is IT authorities clarify on loan repayment in cash. So this is regarding section 269 ST, which has been added into the Income Tax Act of 1961 by the Finance Act in the budget as such. So the section 269T relates to cash repayment of loans. Actually, it talks of all cash transactions. So cash transactions above rupees 2 lakh is not allowed. It's illegal. So this is the section. You can see the details given here too. So rupees 2 lakh or more through cash transaction from 1st April 2017 is prohibited under section 269T ST of IT Act. So this cannot take place in a day by any person, also in respect of single transaction or even in the transaction related to one another. So this is not allowed, but then there are exceptions to it too, as has been provided by the government too, that even credit card bill payments, or if there is a business correspondent who is being paid, or if there is prepayment cards which are being handled, receipts against them, or even white label ATM receipts which are made, so these are allowed. But then there was this concern of NBFCs and housing finance companies too. So these non-banking finance companies and housing finance companies have their loan repayment done, and this loan repayment is made in cash. But then this cash is done in installments. So if there is installments being paid, then the entire amount would be considered as one transaction, because of course those transactions are related. So whether it should be considered as completely a transaction, installments, all installments, or should it be treated independently. So now the clarification has been come from the IT authorities on this loan repayment in cash, and it says that these are for installments would not be considered as linked to one another. This is allowed because NBFCs had stopped taking cash repayment of loans above rupees 2 lakh. So now they heave a sigh of relief now with this clarification coming from the government. So that is it. These are the news items. Thank you.